Greetings and welcome to A Nobody Interviews Somebodies. This is the podcast committed to unveiling the untold stories of remarkable individuals. I'm Jerry Klingerman, your guide through the maze of extraordinary lives and experiences. Whether you're curious about the journey of influential figures, seeking inspiration from their successes, or simply intrigued by the human behind the headlines, this podcast is your guide. So tune in as we celebrate the stories that remind us everyone's journey is a story worth hearing. Hey everyone, Jerry Klingerman here with the Nobody Interviews Somebody's podcast. If you're counting, this is episode 6 of our podcast. If you haven't had a chance yet to watch episode 5, I strongly encourage you to check that out and give that a good listen. It was our great talk with my good friend Robbie Rapole. It was just an awesome session. As we fill our calendar and schedule guests, occasionally from time to time, I'm going to jump in here just myself and present a solo message. And that's what I'm going to do today. Today's message is for graduates. It is graduation season. Actually, it's almost over, but there's still a lot of parties and stuff going on. And that's what spurred me to record this episode today. I want to send a special message out to all the graduates out there, particularly high school graduates, and in particular, small town high school graduates. And that's me. I came from a very small town, Apple Creek, Ohio, in Northeast Ohio. So I am very familiar with what I'm going to talk about today. And that is this. If you're a small town high school graduate and you're headed out into the world, whether it's college or military or whatever, my message to you today is just very simple. Don't be afraid to come back home. I know a lot of kids when they graduate, all they want to do is they want to put their little town in their rearview mirror and never turn back. And I get that. I get that. I want to encourage you to go out into the world and pursue things and let it lead you wherever it takes you. But I also want to share with you the idea that it's okay to come back home. In fact, small towns need you. Your small town needs you. If you think about it, at some point, probably everyone who was really influential in your life outside of your parents left and came back. Certainly your teachers, educators, virtually every one of them have a college degree, so they left and came back. All those educators, those teachers who influenced you, they made a decision at some point to come back to the small town. Probably the same thing if you're a religious person, if you go to church. Same thing with your minister. He or she left at some point, came back. The list is very long of professionals and other people who made that decision. Certainly doctors do that. Nurses, small town nurses, they're very, very special people. They would have made that decision at some point to leave and then at some point come back. Hey guys, real quick, just wanted to pop in here and let you know that a Nobody Interviews Somebody's recently started an exclusive newsletter just for you listeners. You'll get behind the scenes stories and additional content from the remarkable stories shared here. If you'd like to be kept in the loop, the link will be in the description below the episode. Now let's get back to it. So as you go out in the world and you start your educational career or whatever it is that you do, I want you to keep that in mind. For myself, my path was pretty similar. I came from, like I said before, I came from a very small town, went out to college, and I didn't come back home for 20 years. My degree's in journalism. At that time, especially right when I graduated, opportunities for someone like me were extremely limited unless you wanted to go work at the little newspaper, which I did not. So it took me 20 years until I was able to basically orchestrate a career that made it worth it for me to come back home. And you might do that as well. You might be able to craft something that meets your needs. The opportunities out there these days are absolutely endless with web-based technologies. It's a very, very different world from when I graduated and first left. But again, I want you to think about that, and for the parents out there, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go. The best explanation of this sentiment that I've ever heard is let your child choose their own path, and it will always lead back to you. And I know it's hard for some parents to let go, especially if you're from a small town area. You might think sending them out to a big college or off to the city is a big deal. And it is. It is. But you really, at some point, you got to let go of those reins and let your child take the lead. You just have to do that. So again, coming back to you graduates, congratulations on what you've been able to achieve thus far. It's an incredible world out there. Like I said before, let it lead you wherever it takes you. But at some point, if it leads you back home, that's okay. Because small towns need people like you. They need people like you to thrive and to grow and to maintain what you grew up with. I hope that makes sense to you. I just wanted to deliver this message real quick. Again, congratulations to all the graduates out there. And I hope this message finds you well. And I wish you nothing but success in the future. Take care. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Nobody Interviews Somebodies. I want to express my gratitude to all the listeners for tuning in. Your support truly means the world to me. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future topics, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me on social media or by email. The address is in the description below. Until next time, I'm Jerry Klingerman, reminding you to keep embracing the beauty of every story, including yours.